So I'm gonna attempt to do a little tutorial. I usually start with brows, and I already did those this morning. So now I'm gonna go ahead and prime. This is a Morphe eyelid primer in translucent. So that's what we're gonna start with. You don't have to use an actual eyelid primer. Usually I use a concealer. Well, I used to. I really like this Morphe because it really holds tight. It really holds holds the makeup on good. I've actually went on like bike rides and walks with my son with eyeshadow, and they've stayed on in the rain. So it helps a lot. So today I'm just gonna do like a pink, like pretty simple look. I'm gonna use this Jawbreaker palette. It's very colorful, but we're just doing a pink look today. So I'm gonna start out. I need a crease brush to put color in my crease. So let me get a pink brush. I'm gonna start with a fluffier brush. That's what you want for your crease. It blends it and spreads the color nicely. So I'm gonna start with a pretty bright pink and just gonna put it pretty high above like the crease in your lid, just a little bit above, and blend it just kind of like this, and a little kind of like swooshy circle motions. And if you find that your color is not going on great, it's like better to like dip into the palette like this, and then like just tap the color on your lid first, and it distributes the color much better. And then after you have more of the color pigment on there that you like, you can go ahead and like blend it. And if you ever find that you have a harsh edge here, you want to take this brush and don't add any extra color. Just go ahead and like whoosh the edges. Let's see, I need to look. It's coming along pretty well. Just not quite as colorful as I'd like it yet. Now, I think I've gotten my crease to the about color that I wanted. Now this look particularly, like if you have like a very different color on your eye, I'm gonna have to like cut my crease with a concealer to lay a different color. So you're gonna want, if you're ever gonna have to cut a crease or use concealer on your eye, you want a brush that has this like domey kind of shape to it, because it's just easier to make a rounded shape with it. And I'm gonna take my concealer. Now you can do it the same shade as you would use for your face. You could do it with a color way lighter. If you use like a white concealer, then it will just make your colors pop more. Today I'm not doing a really bright look, so it doesn't really matter. I'm trying to find my mirror. I'm trying to do it so that I can record more so the shape that I'm getting. I don't know how well this is gonna go, but we'll see. I'm used to just looking into my mirror at my vanity, and I don't have to worry about it. You're just gonna pretty much etch out the shape of your eyelid. You can extend it a little more out past, like I did. All the time it's because I overshot. But it will change the shape of your eye. So you're not gonna want to leave too much concealer, like extra product there. You're gonna want to blend it out, because if you leave it too wet, the color you try to put down won't stay as nicely. This particular look, I want my whole lid a different color. So that's why I did the whole thing. If you only want to do like a partial eye, then you can only need to go like halfway. Now, if you're going to do a moonlight or like a sunset, and that would be just your middle, you'd want to start in the middle and make it like kind of fan in the middle. I probably could have done that with this, but it's too late. I already did my whole lid. So now we're going to go for a different brush. Now, usually when I get to this point of my makeup, and I'm going to pack a different color on my lid, I take a packer brush, which I don't know why I can't find my big one. I guess we'll just have to use the one I have. But a packer brush is like another kind of domey shaped one. But this one actually has bristles. It's not like synthetic-y and sticks together like the one I used for my concealer. And now we're going to want to go for like a lighter pink, because that's the look I'm going for today. I'm using this like corally pink. And we're going to want to just press that in there. And you don't want to really wait too long to do it, because then the color won't stay as nice. And really, to put this kind of color on, you just want to like essentially just pat it. You pack, oop, wrong color. Just pack the color on, just dab it in the shadow, and then you literally just want to press it in there. And you could drag a little for like a blending effect once you have it on. But you really want to do more of a patting motion for this. So you go in and you pat it in. The higher you make your eyelid with concealer though, the harder it is to put color on your edges. So that's something you want to be mindful of. It's also usually pretty hard to get it at your lash line. So usually I want to take my brush the other way and pat it so it gets right in my lash line. But usually if you plan on doing an eyeliner afterwards, it doesn't really matter if you get right to your lash line. Super great. So now that we have a lid color on, usually I wouldn't go back and blend anymore into my crease after doing this, but this look is a little bit different, and the colors all kind of blend together. I might even want to take a darker red into my crease and make more dimension, because right now it's looking a lot like the same tone. It definitely looks worse on the camera too, because I don't have great lighting. But I'm going to take a different brush, if I can find one. It doesn't necessarily need to be like this. Another fluffy brush, but usually like a smaller brush than what you use for your initial application. And I'm just going to take a darker red. This one's called Licorice. This is dark red in the corner. And I'm just going to try to make more dimension in my crease. And this way, and make sure that you're blending your colors between your crease and your lid. And then I'll definitely have all my concealer covered by the time I'm done. And then, because I did that and it kind of messes up what I did, I want to take just a little bit more product and do a like little flick motion on the edge to like blend it out so it doesn't look so harsh. And it looks like we have a little bit of a dimension, like two different colors going. So now we're going to want to take another kind of blending brush. Usually for this kind of thing I use, if I could find it, this brush right here. I used for like do a little bit more like blended looks to the side, because we're going to want to add some darker colors to the edge here. So I just want to take it in my brush, have it on my one side, and then take that side of my brush and just kind of scratch it in there a little. I would do the same kind of motion on the corner of my eye, even if I was going in to do like a smoky look, like a normal, like a more classic, like smoky eye in general. I'll have to do one of those sometime, I'm sure, and I'm gonna go to the inside. This is like a cheating way probably to do a halo eye. This is probably an easier way depending on if you have good blending skills to do a halo eye. And it's not really good on the camera because I don't have great lighting, but I'm getting about the effect that I want there. It's hard to tell. I'll have to take you into better lighting when we're closer to finished. And what I'm gonna add just a little tiny bit of brown to my edges that I have going because they're just not quite as dark as I'd like them. I'm gonna go back in with my red just to make it look like it's red and not brown. And then, if I want, I'm just gonna take, no, there's my brush. Not very functional yet. Just take my corally shade and maybe just pop it back in there a little so we don't lose it. Really, it takes a lot of patience to do any kind of look, especially the more detailed ones, because it's a lot of going back and then almost undoing what you did and then put it back in and then shade it again and then shade it again and then shade it again. So add a little bit more red into the crease. And this is a very simple look. Like, it looks very kind of mulled together. Usually now, I'm only going to do the one eye. But usually now I would go with some eyeliner. Get some eyeliner. The best kind of eyeliner that I find is to use a pen that has a tip that's like a felt marker that you can just kind of draw if you have drawing skills. If not, there's really no help for you. And then I would go on the lash line. I like to stay as close as possible to the lash line. Just enough that if you have any unblended color there, so it doesn't look like you're missing color, just to make it, I don't know. It definitely, if you're gonna put false lashes, you definitely want to put eyeliner, especially if you're not going to be using black glue, which a lot of people don't, or you could use white, but just to make sure that everything's coated. So if you miss any mascara, if you don't have very full lashes, you're gonna want black eyeliner most likely. I don't necessarily wear like a wing every day. I actually don't try to. They're very hard to get even, and I don't really usually make mine even. I just like to say, oh, they're close enough, that's good, we're not gonna argue with it. So okay, now I'm going to put mascara on this one eye. I usually have been using this Essence mascara that has a primer, and that's what I've been doing. So just put a nice coat of it on your lashes. And then I usually go in with the Essence, it's Lash Princess over it. And you want to make sure that you get rid of all the whiteness from the primer. Now, I'm usually not one to use false lashes. I don't really like them. It's hard to see with them. Now, here's a good example. I actually have gotten some mascara up on my shadow and down here. And usually people freak out. It's really not a huge deal because if you just leave it be, and I know it's going to be a hard urge, if you just leave it be, in a few minutes you're going to take a spoolie, like off of let's see if I can get one real quick. A spoolie like off of a eyebrow pencil like this, and just flick it right off, and it should chip right off if you leave it alone and let it dry. So I actually usually like to use another mascara just to make sure that my lashes are all stuck together, which they're not too bad right now, but just to make sure. Now, say if you're gonna do the rest of your face, I would do both of my eyes. I would finish, and then before I did anything on my under eye area, I would put my concealer on, and then I'd put my foundation on, and then I would like powder and bronze and all that. I'm not gonna do that today. I'm trying to give my skin a little bit of a break because I've been doing a lot with it. But that's when you would do it, and then you would, after your base is all finished, I would go in with my under eye and just smoke it out to get whatever color you're gonna put down there. But that's about the gist of it. Did a really simple, quick look. I'm trying to take you over here and not be an idiot. It's really very simple. It's very red with just some minimal shading.